Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Philly Sports Network. A very freshly buzzed outside insider here, talking about a euphoric Birds win over the Rams. The Philadelphia Eagles back to the NFC Championship for the second time in 3 years. Jalen Hurts looking for his second Super Bowl in 3 years. That would be a monumental feat for any Eagles quarterback. And no matter what the noise says, no matter what the reaction is on social media, the facts are the facts. The Eagles are in the championship game. They have got the best matchup possible, by the way. I just want to make sure my microphone's plugged in and we don't have tech issues for a change. And we don't, which is tremendous for a stream like this. But they've got the easiest seeding possible. And everywhere you turn, someone is just niggling away. Someone's yapping. Someone's criticizing, whether it's Hurts, whether it's Kellen Moore, whether it's Sirianni, whether it's the fact that they've played the Packers and then the Rams and then the Commanders, as opposed to the Lions and, I don't know, the Falcons. Like, doesn't matter who, do you know what I mean? Like, I think if we're being fair with ourselves, if Lamar Jackson was in the NFC, he'd have probably won a Super Bowl by now, or at least got to one, and further than he has in the last 3 years, where he just continues to fall short every single year. The AFC is a harder division. That's fair enough, or conference. But you can't help that. Like, you can only play who's in front of you, and the Eagles are still very much, especially now, like the pride of the NFC. Like, as far as that conference goes, and like even like last week, the Eagles were by far the best team left in the NFC. So you can scratch that off. Like, it doesn't bother me, okay? And you'll get that reality check if they get to the Super Bowl and they face the Kansas City Chiefs as to the level that these teams are on. Now, the Jalen Hurts criticism, I feel like this is very much going to be rehashing in new terms what we went over last week following their win, which got them to that game against, my mind's gone back, the Rams. Sorry, it was only yesterday. It's been a long 24 hours. Against the Rams yesterday. And it just sucks. Like, I think like I've understood what it is. Like, I understand now, unfortunately, where many of these oddly positioned views come from. And I don't think it's malicious. I don't think fans are being overly critical for the sake of being critical. I think there is weight there. It's just misplaced from a lack of almost wanting to accept, I guess, is where I'll put it. Like, people don't like change intrinsically. It doesn't matter what area of life you're in, whether it's relationships, work, whatever. Change is a no-go. And the older you get, the less you like change, because you get accustomed to routine and familiarity. And we're going to get to what the change has been made, why it's been made, and all of that good stuff in today's stream. That's very much the theme here of just contextualizing what we're seeing from Jalen Hurts, what we're seeing from this Eagles team. And while it's not perfect, while it is not, it's not Moneyball, they've not done anything that is game-breaking. They've done enough where they've spotted a trend, they've gone all in on it, and they've got a quarterback that they can very much rally behind and believe that he will do the best he can within that system. And he knows that so long as he does exactly that, everything's going to be fine. And that is kind of where this Eagles team is at. But before we get to that, we'll get to some of your comments. Martian's on a heater. Martian's just on a heater. Did I get dropped? No, well, what happened is, Martian, when I got my original Sirianni Buzz Cup, I had one barber. I've loved him. I tip, like, my haircut is like $12. I always give him $20 just because you always tip your barber. It's the done thing, isn't it? I always try and, you look after him, he sorts you out. He wasn't in last time, which is the first time he's not been there for one of my Sirianni Buzz cuts. And I told the guy what I wanted, and he gave me this. And look, I understand. This is why I didn't get the buzz cut properly the first time I got the buzz cut, because the hairline is gone, like absolutely gone. It's not pretty. And no, it's from my new house. I've just not had time to decorate anything yet. So we had a discussion last time about Eagles paraphernalia and merch and accessories and stuff. We can get to jazz it up a little bit. But that's very much a work in progress. And the angled walls being like that don't help either. I can't tell where your forehead starts and your hair. Neither can I. And that is unfortunately a problem I have on a daily basis. Nice to see you, Bird Brain. Thank you for hopping in the chat. If you are watching this stream and you're not subscribed to the channel, if you're on X, hello, have fun over there. If you want to hop over here, join the comments, join the fun. We'd love to have you, in our community. One man we do want to accept in our community that not all Eagles fans do, annoyingly to some extent, is Jalen Hurts. And that's what, again, this stream is going to be essentially predicated on. Because the more time goes by, the more evident it is as to what's happened. And yet, it almost feels like the more vicious and the more aggressive the clapbacks are, be it that Jalen Hurts isn't passing enough, Jalen Hurts had 32 yards in the first half, Jalen Hurts did this, Jalen Hurts did that. You would think Jalen Hurts is a high school bully the way that some of these fans talk about him, which is just not healthy when it's your team's quarterback and they're in an NFC Championship game. Now, the first rule of playoff, let's play class, let's play school, right? Since I'm playing the role of teacher and now I look like a 40-year-old man, let's play teacher for a minute. Someone in the comments on X or YouTube tell me, what is the first rule of playoff football? All right, you're in the dance, you're in the playoffs, you've got a shot again to the Super Bowl. What is any offense's top priority? Okay, and I want you to jot down your answers, pop them in, take all the time in the world. It's okay. There's no rush. We've got an hour. We're here, and we're going to get to it because it's a very obvious answer, and it had a very obvious outcome, and that's exactly what the Eagles did. It led them to win the game. Right, Bird Brain says win. I mean, that's sure, okay. That is very much sort of your first goal, but to get them to win, what is an offense's first priority? I'll spoil it. It's just don't turn the ball over. It sounds obvious. It is obvious. Don't turn the ball over, all right? Just keep it where you can see it, out of the enemy hands, just like within your reach. Keep the chains moving. And if you just so happen to have a generationally gifted running back, one of the best running backs that we've ever seen in Philadelphia, maybe even the whole NFL, just give it to him and then take the risk out of needing to air it out downfield 20 yards at a time, because there's no need to be that urgent or that aggressive when you can control the tempo the way you do. So that has been known for a while, that the Eagles have become a very run-first team, as evidenced by the fact in the regular season, the rushing offense was like third in the NFL. The passing offense was like 28th or something like that. It's a very stark difference. And a lot of people go, oh, well, Jalen Hurts didn't do much. But the reality is he didn't have to when you're feeding a superhuman freak like Saquon Barkley. Okay, again, that's fair enough. You go to the Packers game. The one thing that cost Green Bay above anything else is just Jordan Love being sloppy with the football. And all you heard coming into it was that Jordan Love hadn't thrown a turnover for 7 weeks. And that went well. That didn't matter. The other man riding a stat like that, of course, was Jalen Hurts, who has been one of the most protected quarterbacks at a new career high in completion percentage. Looked great in terms of keeping the ball in his, where you can see it. Again, we've established in previous streams, he started to keep the ball lower. Like his exit velocity is now like way lower. He's aiming at this like lower body, upper thigh sort of region, and you're trying to keep it away from defenders nipping their hands in there. So you keep possession of the ball. That then allows you to just do so much more with Saquon Barkley, allows you to do so much more with the running game. And on a day as well, like where it was literally snowing, like to a point where there must have been an inch or two on the floor. And as we know, boys, all right, every inch matters. My hairline would agree, okay? I want it back. I can't get it back. It's gone, all right? I wish I had an extra inch on top. But in a snowy, windy, horrible day where it is the most inopportune time ever to air balls out down the field, people are forgetting that Hurts actually did it. Like AJ Brown had 2 uncharacteristic drops. There was a Devontae Smith one called back on a penalty. 2 huge plays, like chunk plays, that we've become accustomed to seeing Jalen Hurts produce. They were written off. The rest of the game, why would you need to air it out downfield on a snowy game and risk turnovers and risk incompletions and these horrible quick 3 and outs, which, funnily enough, was exactly what the Rams were doing near enough all game against a vicious Eagles defense? Why bother taking the risk, especially when you've got Saquon Barkley just able to ride that wave and build some momentum and move the chains? So there's no need for it. And what's happened here is that Eagles fans, for the better part of a decade, probably longer, but at least since social media has been a frontal part of our sports media coverage and consumption, every week for the better part of a decade, all you have heard is run the ball. Run the ball, Chip. Run the ball, Doug. Run the ball, Nick. It doesn't matter who's the coach, doesn't matter who the running backs are, run the ball. Give it to Josh Adams. It doesn't matter. All you've heard for the better part of a decade is run the ball. You now have the best running back in football, an MVP candidate, someone that is crushing records for fun. And now the Eagles are running the ball, and the focus is very clearly on running the ball, setting up the run, opening up the run for Jalen Hurts, as we saw with the 44-yard touchdown. And the complaints are, he's not passing enough. He's not aggressive enough. He's taking too long in the pocket. He's taking unnecessary sacks. And do you know what? Fair enough. He's taking unnecessary sacks. He is being a bit indecisive in the pocket. He is missing open throws. I don't think that makes it bad or worrying quarterback play. I think that's smart, concise. I would much rather take a sack than take a fumble. I would much rather take a sack than an interception or a risky play where you can just see the frustration building. If it's not there, like if he also on a day where his legs were injured, like we all saw the injury that seemed to hamper him. He got to the end of the game, had a post-game interview and told reporters, yeah, like I got through the game. Like we don't know the extent of the injury. I'm sure it's going to be fine for this weekend, but certainly something that hampered him into the second half. And yet somehow through all of that, through the weather, through the injury, through the drops, through the penalties, Hurts protected the ball, didn't turn it over, managed the offense, turned it on occasion when he needed to deliver these deep shots that were then ultimately squandered by A.J. Brown drops or squandered by a penalty on that deep Smithy catch. And it's still not enough, right? You can't have it both ways. You can't sit there for a decade as you go through puberty into an adult man or from an adult man to someone a bit older in that age range, okay? Screaming to run the ball, and then the team start running the ball, and you get angry they're not passing enough. Stop being so fickle. Your team is in the NFC Championship, for crying out loud. You've just beaten the Rams. You've just come off an even bigger win before that. You now face a divisional rival, which should be a sensible win for Philadelphia. Like, this is the dream scenario to get them back to the Super Bowl. You are looking at a second Super Bowl appearance in 3 years. You're looking at a third one since 2017 after a decade, or at least over a decade of suffering since the 04 Super Bowl. And that's still not enough. Like, just relax. It's fine. Jalen is fine. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't, like, aggressively bad. He was good in places, average in others, and definitely not terrible. Held onto the ball, protected it, opened things up. The 44-yard touchdown run, I think, speaks for itself. I don't get it. I don't get how you can be so angry or upset. And it is, I just think, because people don't like change. They've just become accustomed to seeing good quarterbacks now, aka, I don't know, someone like Justin Herbert, all right? Like, not a good quarterback, is he? We can all agree Justin Herbert is very much middle of the range at the very best, all right? But you see him just relentlessly air it out because he has to. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, anyone in that upper echelon, Lamar Jackson you can put there as well, as guys that have made their pay dirt by making these electric passes and unfathomable plays. It's okay that Hurts doesn't do that, okay? Like, I just think that the perception has been skewed so much that you have to play quarterback a certain way, or if you're a dual threat, you have to be exactly like Lamar Jackson. Or if you, I don't know, like a non-gun shy, like just sling it around, like you've got to be able to drop it on a dime like Josh Allen 8 times a drive. Doesn't matter how you win. And I think that's what this Eagles team has shown us. And I'll get to some of your comments in a minute. I promise I'm not ignoring them. I'm just getting the initial ramble out the way. But when you look at the last 2 weeks of how the Eagles have actually won the games, like last week, the offense certainly wasn't hot, kicked in when it needed to. The defense was immaculate throughout. There has been games in this past regular season where the defense wasn't great. The opening few weeks took a while to get going. The offense lifted the load, carried it to the house, and got out of there with a win. Like, they've got so many ways they can beat you, the Eagles. And now it's hit a point where I don't think it matters who they play. Like, who comes up now from Washington, whether it's Buffalo, whether it's Kansas City. I don't care what the strength of your defense is. If you can stop the run, brilliant. You're going to be susceptible to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. If you can stop them, brilliant. Saquon Barkley exists. And if you can somehow stop him, which nobody this season has proven they can hold him below, 62 yards, you've got a rushing Jalen Hurts who can ping off a 44-yard touchdown in the snow at any point. It doesn't matter how they win, so long as they win. And I think the Eagles have very much accepted that, embraced that as part of their culture and the way they build the team. And it is what's making them so dangerous in these playoffs, because there just isn't a quit. They're resilient. I mean, they almost squandered it. The fourth quarter was extremely stressful. that they do what needs to be done when it matters most. And that iconic Saquon Barkley touchdown, dashing through the snow like a prime Rudolph, I think, speaks volumes. We'll get to some of your comments now, because I know I've been rambling for a solid 15 minutes. I want to shout out Tai Tai. I haven't seen his name in the chat before, so if you're still watching, thank you for joining us. We need to keep Zach Bourne. I agree. And I will say every week that I do these streams, or every day that I do them, the real ones in this stream that have been here since March, since May, when Zach Bourne was first signed, and we broke down the film of him playing in New Orleans, and we all kind of, were taken aback, and we're like, oh, he's got something. I can see him being a role player. We have been making shrines to that man. I have. I mean, I've just hidden it at the minute behind this very well-decorated room. But Zach, he's been so good. He's been so good. My only worry now would be, and I said this last week, that with the Nakobe Dean injury, there is a lack of stability at linebacker. And if you pay Zach Bourne, I think his value might just be too high, knowing when you've got Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith. I'm not that Quignon and Cooper are there yet in terms of needing contract extensions, but there are a lot of guys like Cam Jurgens is certainly another one that are going to need these new deals soon. And I don't know how aggressive you want to be when you've got Jalen Hurts to pay, you've got AJ Brown to pay, Devontae Smith to pay, Jordan Mailata to pay. Like, all of these big contracts are already on your books. Lane Johnson is another one. How aggressive do you get with it? That's a question for Howie Roseman. It's a question for the offseason. But as fans, I think we all agree, we all want him here. As an analyst, I want him. If I was going to put a bet on it, I would say it's like a 50-50 at the minute, and that doesn't fill me with a great bit of confidence. But I would love to see him back. He has been the biggest surprise of the year. Outside of one man who I think deserves all of the flowers and doesn't really get them just by nature of the position, Mekhi Becton. All right, can we just take a minute in this stream? Just give a round of applause to Mekhi Becton, because that man was signed as a depth piece just in case the man that was previously set to assume that right guard role, the hand-picked honoree of Jason Kelce, wasn't ready to go. And he wasn't, and that's okay, right? Mekhi Becton comes in, former first-round pick, hasn't had the best career. Injuries have caught up to him, very much a reclamation project, but someone there with depth that can do the job. And he goes into training camp, and he rips that role so far away and just makes it his own that it was never even a competition. Within 2 weeks, that role was done. We knew who the right guard would be. You never even had to look in that direction again. Mekhi Becton wants to play. And he has been, I think, one of the biggest catalysts for Saquon Barkley this season. Like, not in terms of just like opening lanes and stuff, but just the size of the man and the size of the holes he can open. Like, it's not even just about the power and the moving men and these reach blocks and the way he's able to get to the second level. I think he does so much in terms of just being able to control the line of scrimmage, especially on these zonal plays where you've kind of got to just push everyone to that left-hand side or the right-hand side. Just a mauler. Like, you can't get anyone near him. It doesn't matter who you've got. They all seem to struggle with Becton. And he has just been a godsend to this offensive front, to a line that has been, I think, hampered by injury on occasion, where depth is certainly coming into this season was questionable at best. It was like, if Becton goes down, is Tyler Steen ready to go? Like we saw that happen earlier, and he wasn't the worst, but certainly not the best. There's, going to be some growing pains there for him still. And it just, I don't know, just to see him make the impact that he has this year, that's amazing. Like that, this might be, if we're being honest with ourselves, one of the best free agent classes that any team has ever had. And this isn't hyperbole. I'm not trying to be dramatic for effect or for anything like that. But if you look at the players that he signed, and I can get a list of them up now. Let's go into it. Why not? Let's have a look. Because I think if we can go down one by one, these are just some of the most amazing signings that we've seen. I'm just trying to get Spot Track up now to see if we can take a closer look. Does it give you signings? I'm not sure if it does actually on here. It might not. Can we see it? I don't know. Either way, I mean, we can do a lot of it by name anyway. So we've got on the Eagles website, and they seem to have a list vaguely. So you've got AJ Brown's new contract, Mekhi Becton. Well, let's go through the slideshow, because the Eagles have an actual slideshow, and I think that's quite fun. It's better than just stats, isn't it? And shout out to Stu as well. I see you in the chat, man. I'm sorry I haven't got to your messages yet. Or anyone, Drew, to Dan. I'm sorry, boys. I'm getting there. I promise. But right, let's get into this. If I go share, almost ended the stream then. That was not the play. All right. So Mekhi Becton, we've just spoke about how great he's been, right? One of the best additions to this Eagles team they've had. A lot of people want to talk about Zach Bourne. A lot of people want to talk about Saquon Barkley. That man has made so much happen that it's so sad that he gets overlooked. And I think if he doesn't get a new contract in Philadelphia, I really hope he gets one massive payday elsewhere. I'm talking like a Halapu Lavati overpay kind of payday, just because he has been so dominant. So Mekhi Becton's been great. This is right. This is what I take it back. Let's forget free agents. Maybe the best offseason of all time for the Eagles. And I'll go away. If not, NFL team. So you signed both of your premier wideouts to new contracts. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, and then you got Brian Dawkins trying to sell me a membership to flights for some reason. So look at that already. So you have two perimeter wideouts locked in for the foreseeable future, and a new guard who was signed as depth, just like Bourne, come through, starting role, absolutely kills it. CJ Uzama, depth piece, good in a pinch. Put it this way, I think he was more efficient than Tyree Jackson ever was. It just hasn't helped him that, Grant Calcaterra literally existed, pushed him to the practice squad. And Kalki C has had a very good season by standards for someone that is very much a tight end too, in an offense that doesn't traditionally run out a lot of 12 personnel looks where both tight ends are there to be receivers, which means you typically need one that's going to block because of how often they run Saquon Barkley. And, Calcaterra has been solid, very, very solid. Jordan Mailata signed a contract extension day before my birthday, all right? So that's two offensive linemen, two receivers signed. Avonte Maddox comes back. If I'm honest, I don't hate it, given the date of it. We know the draft was coming up. Like that, it gives you an insurance policy of a corner that was let go to test the free agent market, couldn't get what he wanted, comes back to familiar surroundings. He's a locker room fit. Everyone loves him. Injuries, again, hampered his career. But I think in terms of, hang on, we've got to shut the text message. Go away, Lizzie. Not now. Not now. Oh, I'm doxing the girlfriend. She's going to kill me. She won't. Get out of the way. There we go. Could you see that on there? I don't know if that came through. It might not have showed up. I had text messages come through then. Stop texting me. Stop. If you can hear the pinging. Anyway, right. Avonte Maddox signs. Wawa and are offering us hoagies. I wish they would. Reed Blankenship, 1 year deal. He's been all right. I'd say Reed has been okay. I don't think he's been out of this world, but I think he's been solid. And that was my thing with Reed. And what my worry going into last offseason was someone that realistically, he hasn't been outworldly. And when you bring back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I think his level is like far beyond. Average only gets you so far. It's the same thing with Quez Watkins. I would equate Reed to a more likable Quez Watkins as someone that has been good. He certainly improved this year. But are you going to get to a point where you want someone to be more of a star player at safety? And that's something they'll have to judge. But I think this season, at least, he's been very good. So next up, Paris Campbell, depth signing. Wasn't really asked, but considering how weak that depth position was, where they didn't even have a slot receiver for like 8 months, pretty good. Will Greer, non-factor, don't worry about it. Devin White, that's the red mark on this, isn't it? That's the one that stings. That was going to be the signing. That was the linebacker signing. Zach Bourne was just a guy to be a depth player behind. I couldn't even tell you what happened with Devin White. I honestly don't know, but he that fizzled out very, very quickly. Oren Burks, do you know what? I wasn't a big fan of him. I think he's a bit of a liability at times, or certainly was in San Francisco. Wasn't last night though, was he? Was not last night. Wasn't the week before on special teams when he made that opening fumble, was he? So again, good signing. Not sure who that was. That didn't work out. We've got a car now, so that's good. Rick Lovato, great. CJ Gardner-Johnson, brilliant. Jake Elliott. Well, if you take a look at his eyes in that picture, like maybe we can see. Look, I don't know how much they were paying Jake Elliott off the top of my head. Might explain the slump, Might explain the slump if he's just, look at the way he is eyeing that up. Can I zoom in on this? I don't know how to do it. Yeah, here we go. He is, oh boy. He's seen so many likes on that sheet of paper, boys. I can tell you that for free. And I don't know if he has just signed his soul to the devil. I don't know what he has just done in some sort of ritual, but maybe that is what sparked the downfall. And it's a disappointing downfall. Like, I don't think it's not Justin Tucker bad, but I think every kicker gets hot and cold, and Jake's been hot for so long that eventually he was going to cool off, and that's just been the reality of the situation. But the picture is something. So, let's just keep that in mind, I suppose. Next up, obviously got Braden Mann, who is he looks like a Star Wars character, and I can't quite put my hand on why. A little bit of Luke Skywalker in him there, and a nice ring as well. And I didn't realize that was an Eagles sweater. Love it. For the culture. What a boy. Matt Hennessy, I thought would have a bigger impact and be a competing guard role. Very much a depth piece. Didn't stick around. That's the big one. It still blows my mind. Like, I know I don't want to go through all 64 because we get over the bulk of it now. But all I'm saying is, in the space of the offseason, you retain your biggest star core players. You go out and get the best running back in football. You get Zach Bourne, who becomes the best linebacker in football. You get Mekhi Becton, who becomes one of the better guards in football. And your team is in an NFC Championship. Like, without breaking the bank, really. I still can't believe the Giants let him go. I don't understand. Like, if you are Jim Mora and you're watching that team every week for 3-4 years, watching Daniel Jones, watching the end of Eli Manning's career, watching a plethora of second and third round pick wide receivers fizzle out, someone like Kadarius Toney who did sweet fuck all in New York. Like, at what point, watching that mess year after year, do you not look at Saquon Barkley and just see he's very much a Bugatti being kept in like a horrible garage, like you see in those memes on Twitter, like the Bugatti under like the motorhome sort of thing? At what point do you not figure that out and just rebuild the team around him? And the Eagles already had the team built, and they just went out and got their guy. And it has just been one of the greatest signings in football history, if you ask me. Bryce Huff, the jury is out. I think long term, I'm still kind of bullish on him. I still like what he brings to the table, but I stand by what I said months ago, that he made his money as a rotational edge rusher with some of the most freakish size and athleticism imaginable. And, you've got to convert that into stamina and endurance, and that's not an easy thing to do. So a year one jump up to a full-time starter was never going to end in, euphoria, but the injury also didn't help. So jury's very much out, but probably the only other knock on it. And there he is, Brian Cameron, everyone, is here as our premier linebacker. So Zach Bourne, Justin, I can't say enough good words about Zach Bourne, man. I absolutely love him. I'm not ignoring the chat. I can't see it. I meant John Moore or the other Moore. I don't know. I'm not ignoring the chat. It's just on the other side. I can only see my screen, so I can't see the chat. But I'm coming back now. Right. Let's get to your comments. We get the point. I've made the point. Right. Let's get into some of your comments. Where are we to? Good to see you, Liam, says Stu. Salute to you, my friend. I love the edited picture there. That's cool. Makes it like a proper comic book hero. I love it. Still drink tea and the coffee from the still drink tea from the coffee mug that I purchased when you first started. I remember that, and I remember you tweeted me a video holding the coffee mug, and this would have been 9 years ago now. So shout out to you for being an absolute star, man. Like, I think you are if I'm honest, you might be PSN's longest fan, or the one at least that I know personally that I've spoken to, and I've seen you in streams, and you've read articles, and you've done podcasts. Like, you've been everywhere, man, and that means the absolute world. So I hope you keep him well. And it's crazy. I'm so happy that you're still part of this channel, man. You're a star. Homeboy phone finally got a buzz cut. Oh, I didn't choose it. The buzz cut chose me. All right. What is going on here? What's that private bio? What's going on with? There is some chaos in the chat at the minute. No, I wasn't. Well, I mean, I was, but they were pinging, and I thought you could see the notifications. And I'm not trying to dox my girlfriend. Same girlfriend, by the way. Like in the middle of a stream. We're so close, my tits are jacked. And I hope he didn't send that as the girlfriend text came up, because that would be weird, that. So don't. Huh? What? No, Joe, I agree. It's very exciting. I think my worry is, though, now we all kind of see Washington as just a write-off and like an easy win, which they should be. I mean, the Eagles open up as 5.5 point favorites. Like, they should be a very beatable opponent. They've proven that they've got their number earlier in the year when they faced them. The second time, not so much, but we all know they're external circumstances that very much changed the course of that game. But yeah, moving into next week, I just don't want to. I'm nervous. I did this both Super Bowls, like the one in 2017, the one in 2022, where like I was very hesitant all playoffs. But if I'm honest, the one play that did it for me, that I thought this is it, this is Super Bowl, was that Saquon run. The one that's been going all over Instagram and all over Twitter, where he's smacking his helmet all the way down, firing himself up, engulfing in the energy of a roaring crowd that is heating up a frozen tundra in Lincoln Financial Field. I just thought Super Bowl. That is the Super Bowl team. That's a Super Bowl moment and a Super Bowl player. And if nothing else, I want Saquon Barkley to win a Super Bowl ring, because the guy has all of it and he has been chained in New York for so long. And it's so depressing to know what he could have accomplished, what he should have accomplished had he landed elsewhere. And he's still got plenty of gas in the tank, plenty of tread on the tire. Just get him that ring. All right, get him that Super Bowl ring. And I'm an happy man. All right. I want Jalen Hurts to win one. I want the team to win one. I love the team. I just want Saquon to do it, man. I really want a Saquon ring. Jake missed the dotted line wide left. Just go to search bar and type in Hurts safety and watched it. No, I agree. Look, I agree. Jalen Hurts wasn't brilliant. And there were the safety is inexcusable. All right. Especially in that situation, it's inexcusable. Some of the sacks taken, inexcusable. Did they get themselves over the line? Did Jalen Hurts turn the ball over? Did Jalen Hurts gift away very quick 3 and outs and easy possessions religiously? I don't think so. I don't think so. And that to me is the difference. He hasn't cost the team yet. There was a point. I'll tell you what, right? If the Rams had scored on their final drive instead of Jalen Carter coming up in the clutch, sending them back to 4th and 11, then Matt Stafford missing wide right. Do you know what? That very sequence, before I finish that thought, reminded me so much of the Atlanta game in 2017. And as Stafford got the snap, I thought, this is going deep right. It just feels like that the Jalen Mills on Julio, where he's coming over the top of him and the ball falls incomplete. I just had this weird flash of that exact moment. And the ball went that direction. And I was and luckily it was a bit less dramatic and the ball flew into the stands somewhere. But you know what I mean? So anyway, at that point in the drive, had Matt Stafford converted, had the Rams converted, had the Rams then scored a touchdown to tie that game up, I think they were down 6, weren't they? So maybe would have even gone 1 in front. That would have been the Jalen Hurts moment. That is when I think all of the criticisms, that's when they're most important. Because I can sit here now, and this is the unfortunate reality of this, and where anyone, kind of feeling negatively towards Jalen Hurts certainly has a right to be frustrated, is that I can sit here now and say, yeah, but the Eagles won. It's all happy and doolally. Everyone's lovely. The Birds are going to a Super Bowl and Hurts is fine. There's no reason to worry. And I can break down the film and I can share my thoughts and just justify it. And then if that drive happens, if the Rams score that touchdown and Hurts has to go down the field with a minute and a half on the clock and score, if I'm honest, it should be a field goal with the way Jake Elliott was kicking. You're going to have to go for 6, okay? If you get to that point and then Jalen Hurts starts struggling and then he's taking too long and then he's taking unnecessary sacks and he doesn't find that other level, absolutely worth every bit of criticism that's there, because they're the moments that he needs to turn it on. And historically, they're the moments that he has turned it on. And that's why I kind of stay as far into supporting Jalen Hurts and at least trying to justify what we're seeing, as opposed to jumping on the bandwagon of he needs to do better, this isn't good enough, it's inexcusable. Because when, the lights are brightest and his back is against the wall, he pulls out. And even yesterday, as much as there were things wrong in plays he'd like back and plays we'd like to see taken back, got them over the line. And that is frankly all you need to do. So, there we go. Dooley's bad. We need to go to a CFL and find a kicker. I'll do it. I'll come over. Look, I'm English. I'll have a bit of soccer. I just said soccer. I'll come over and do it. I'll kick for you, Raj. Don't you worry, buddy. I'm on my way. The Eagles don't need AJ Brown's shit. He's got 3 receptions and 24 yards. Look, I'm forgetting how many messages there are now. I am on my way. Right. I've got a theory AJ Brown won't be in Philadelphia much longer. But I say that after he signed a contract extension. But after next season, I could see him wanting out because there's gonna be a point where I think he wants to be the guy. And I'm not meaning that in a negative way. He's got every right in the world to feel like that. And I think every teammate and every fan would want him to do that. And when he came in that first season, he was, as I forecasted multiple times, you can't feed AJ and Devontae and them both have these 1,300 yard seasons religiously. It's just not sustainable. You filter in the best running back in football. You filter in one of the best dynamic playmakers in NFL history. What are you going to do? Like, you know, are you going to be mad at it? Or what? It depends what you're there for. And AJ, as great as he is, as a person as great as he is, as a fantastic role model as he is, I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him if he turned around. If they win the Super Bowl this year, there's nothing left for him to accomplish, because the reason you take that almost reduced role, you take a lapse in targets, you take a reduction on targets because you want to feed the run. Like, you accept that your role is smaller and it's different now. The reason you do that is to get to a Super Bowl. And if you get to a Super Bowl and you reach that pinnacle and you do it, what is left for you to chase other than the individual accolades that you sacrificed by getting there in the first place? So if they win the Super Bowl, I think AJ would want out. I think Devontae's different. I think if you compare how they are, how they talk to the media, the way they carry themselves, I think Devontae Smith is much more subtle. I think he's just much more of a selfless player. Is the wrong thing to say, because AJ is selfless. Otherwise, there's no drama with him, like, at least for the right reasons. You know what I mean? But I think Devontae just comes across like, I can't explain it, and I hope you guys know what I'm on about without me having to like sound like I'm digging a hole or something. But I think Smitty just gets it a bit more, and I think maybe it's the Alabama. We'll put it on the Alabama thing. All right, that he's been there. Same with Jalen Hurts. They understand that's the way they're wired. I don't think AJ Brown's wired that same way, as much as he is adopting it, getting the best out of it. So look, it's not that the Eagles don't need AJ Brown. I think he's been great. But if I'm AJ Brown, I'm going to get my Super Bowl and I'm going to go, all right, cool. And I'm going to go sign with the Patriots where, Mike Vrabel's there or whoever, and I'm going to do my thing. Like, that would be, if I was AJ, that's my theory. And like, I'm putting myself in a player's shoes and being like, what would I do? That would be my thing. If they win the Super Bowl, I could see that happening within a year or two. But we'll see. If he ends up at the Patriots now, all right, just come back to this stream, remember where you heard it. That's all I'm saying. Joe got it wide open and when Hurts takes that safety. I get it. I mean, we'll do film stuff on Wednesday, my friend. We'll do film stuff on Wednesday. But yeah, I mean, I'm not excusing that either of those plays. They're both bad plays. Neither should have happened. They're inexcusable. It's an NFL quarterback. They happen to every NFL quarterback, but it doesn't mean they should happen. It is what it is. But at the same time, did he turn the ball over? And I'll keep coming back to it. Did he turn the ball over? Yes or no? Like, there's no there's no color in there. It's black and white. Did he turn the ball over? Yes or no? No. Did the Eagles win the game? Yes. Did they win the game because he didn't turn the ball over, therefore maintain possession so Saquon could run and move the chains, dictate the tempo, keep the ball away from the other team, score touchdowns? Yes. Like, that's what I come back to. Liam never saw Full Metal Jacket. I haven't. I haven't seen Full Metal Jacket, so that'll be the Private Pie thing. Yeah, there we go. Private Pie. Let's have a look. Right, let me get it up. Every stream, there's something, isn't there, about someone I look like. Private Pie. Okay, this is apparently me. That's not work. Private Pie. Full Metal. I'm going to get up on the screen. It's just not. Oh, Private Pile. I searched Private Pie. That's my bad. Excuse me. Right, this is me apparently. So, I mean, I don't even have words. I actually, someone want to tell me what's going on? Why do I look like this man? Private Pile. Oh, it's an AI one there. That is terrifying. Oh dear. Okay, well, remind me to never watch Full Metal Jacket so I don't have PTSD. No, I'm fine. I'm not Private Pile. Had a dream, says Tyrell, that the Eagles were up by 200 in the Super Bowl, and then I woke up. Maybe 20. You might get 20. You never know. I think if they get who would you rather have in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs or the Bills? I'm going with the Chiefs just because I think their roster is inherently weaker, and I'm more scared of the Bills' offense in general. I would say the Chiefs might have the better defense, but I don't know. I also want the Eagles-Chiefs rematch. I want the law. I want the WrestleMania. I want the Cody Rhodes finish your story. You were there year one. It didn't work out. You're there year two. You have all the help of the bloodline, and you go and finish your story. That's what I want in this WrestleMania. That's right. If I could pick a dream to have, in equation to that, I would pick that one. Timothy says, Hurts is taking advantage of not having to do the most. Last year, he was having to will his team to a win every damn week. Yeah, pretty much. Exactly that. He knows what's expected. And that's what I think is that I believe there's an element, and I've said this quite a lot, of him almost playing possum, of just kind of rolling with the punches, not really going above and beyond, like, oh no, I took a sack, oh, there was no one open. And then Super Bowl comes around, 428 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 rushing, Super Bowl win, bang. Like, I could so see that. Like, he's just sandbagging. Like, because you don't lose that. And as we've said, there's very much been an adjustment in the way he throws the football. And you don't just forget how to read defenses or read them differently or slow down. So, I don't know. It's very interesting. Just because we don't doesn't mean we can't. Very good. I like that. Just like another saying, I want, don't get. You can tell that to, whoever. If your kids come out, I want pizza tonight. Well, I want, don't get. Go on, back up there. You have a mashed potato and beans. Deal with it. That's not a regular dinner in England, I promise. We do have some food. It's totally technically the turnover, mate. You're in a world of shit. Why? What have I seen there? I'm so confused. The Commanders put up 22 points in the fourth quarter last time they played. Yeah, but also, again, I think there were different circumstances in that game. Well, I think the trajectory of that game very much changed after the Hurts setback. And that was that, I think. Like, I don't think, if I'm going to judge one of those games, it will be the first time they played, where the Eagles very much had their way. But having said that, maybe it nullifies and you get a tighter contest the third time around. You've had 2 games against each other. Both have been lopsided for different reasons. And, maybe we can do with that. Need the Eagles defense to come in the clutch. I think they have. I think this might be the best defense that we've seen since that 2017 season. And I think that's fair to say. I think we can all sit here and really, I would say agree, but just believe that. Like, the upside, if they're not better now, 2 to 3 years they will be, because so many of those components are back. Jalen Carter's only getting better. You have Nolan Smith coming back from injury. I think Jalix Hunt has been a brilliant addition as a rookie. I think he's been flashing upside down nice. You've got Jeremiah Trotter as a rookie, Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell. We haven't mentioned Nolan Smith. There's just so many good players along that defense, and so many of them are under the age of 24 that you're just going to set up for the future. This is a team very much built for another Super Bowl window. You've got AJ here for another couple of years. You've got Smitty here for another 3. Mailata's here for another few. You've got Jalen Hurts locked in. You've got Saquon Barkley locked in. You've got all the pieces you need to make consistent Super Bowl runs. Why won't they? That's the thing. So it's bizarre. I can't wait. I really, really can't wait. I think they're going to have potentially. Is it too soon to say they could be a dynasty level team? I know they haven't got to a Super Bowl yet, but I'm talking to forecast and to look at, 5-6 years down the line, and if the trajectories of the players on this team maintain, and you're looking at guys again, DeJean, Quinion, Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, you can run up the names on defense, you can run up the names on offense, all of them here for multiple years. There's no reason why they can't. Doesn't mean they will. No reason why they can't. And I think I'm excited just to watch all this pan out. It's a very, very exciting era of Philadelphia Eagles football. That's scored 22 in the final quarter to take a lead. Imagine if a starting QB was playing and not a backup who couldn't move the ball. Well, that's fair. Look, we'll see. We'll see. Hurts had one of his best QB performances statistically in the Super Bowl and lost. You need 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a win every time. Exactly. You don't need magic. You do need magic, but you don't need one man's magic. You need a team's magic. That's what you need. You just need everyone together, pulling in the same direction, and that's sort of where they're at. So it's it's cool. Like, I'm excited for this weekend. I think the Eagles will be absolutely fine. And it's just going to be a fun game. Like, it's not very often you see an NFC East divisional game in the playoffs, let alone the championship game, because the division is such a mess outside of Philadelphia. And this year, Washington. Oh my God, I just realized. Start of this season, and I didn't put the bet on because I've been a good boy and I've stopped gambling properly. And I was like, no, not so much this year. Start of this year, I went over NFL bets, all right, and I wrote an article on it and I put it on stream. I was like, my favorite bet of the year: Eagles to win the NFC East, Washington to finish second. That was the bet, and it was like 14 plus 1400, something like that. And I was gonna very badly lump on it, and I didn't. And I've just realised that bet came in with it swimmingly. Didn't even hesitate in coming in. It was the most obvious bet ever. So if anyone did tell that, and you want to Venmo me a coffee, you're welcome. But Tyrell's had it good, though. He did get money on and said he redeemed himself from his Falcons parlay. Saquon 200 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns in the same game, but over 1K. Oh, let him go. Tremendous. Well, you go enjoy your winnings. I don't know what you're going to buy with them. But do you know what I would do? If you haven't got one already, Saquon jersey, just as a thank you, just to honour the greatness that he's given you there, like to get you that 1K. But yeah, do you know what? That's for you, Saquon. And then go get yourself a nice dinner, maybe a new PlayStation game. Just get a console. I don't know. I don't know what people buy with money these days. I've hit an age where I've just moved house, so I'm like, for me that'd be a new washing machine, and I don't know, a towel, and little hook over the back of the window to hang coats on. That's what I hate that I've hit that age. Maybe that's why I don't gamble as much now. There's no fun stuff to buy when you just moved house. So that'll probably be it. But I'm buzzing for you, man. Well done. That's a huge win. Just don't put all of it on the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. Maybe like a little bit, have a little flutter, but keep it, all right? You can't go broke taking profit. Remember that. That's wise words for you. But yeah, any more questions, guys, about the Eagles or comments, observations from the game? I will say one more time, while I've got the opportunity to, Darius Slay, you've gone up in my estimations. You're all right, okay? I understand we had our differences, myself and Darius, and the Rogue Burner account that called me a crumpet-eating bitch on Twitter, which was sensational. It's one of, if I was to rank the best offensive insults that I've ever heard in my life, crumpet-eating bitch, it just rolls off the tongue. It's like second, it's straight out there, right? And then one stream back along or one video, I think it might have even been an old podcast, right? Someone commented saying your voice sounds like a NASCAR wheel gun. And like, it was so accurate. I couldn't even be mad. I had to sit there and be like, do you know what? Fair enough. Like, have your flowers, have the channel if you want, because that it doesn't get much better than that. But we got Carlos Rosado, my first time on the stream. Welcome to the family, my friend. I hear the accent. You're a Birds fan from across the pond. Regardless, it's Go Birds. Yeah. So for anyone that's new and isn't aware of PSN, so I'll try and condense the story as short as I can. I made Philly Sports Network it's our 10-year anniversary this year. Shit, I forgot about that. 10-year anniversary this year. So phillysportsnetwork.com, which was a website where my passion was like Eagles football as like a teenager, and I worked in media and I wanted to do my own thing. I then built the website. I started to find writers to build with and just wanted to build something different because I didn't feel there was a gap. It was either like all newspapers or all clickbait, and there was nowhere in the middle. And that's what we always tried to be. So fast forward a decade, we got loads of new writers and everyone's lovely. And I sold the company, but then still work for them. So yeah, unfortunately, as part of that, YouTube was once a very big thing of what we did. And I ran out of time because the site was taking up so much of my time to run. And it's only been the last year or so that I've been able to gradually get back into YouTube, and streams just work better for me because I can sit down and have interactions like this and talk to you face to face, and have an interaction, and it's a lot of fun. So we have streams on the channel every day of the week. So mine are Monday, Wednesday, and sometimes Friday, depending on what the rest of the boys are doing. And then you've got Flipping the Birds, which is our other Eagles stream. That's tomorrow night at 8, I want to say. And then you've got, there was meant to be one this morning. Then there's like a hockey one Tuesday night as well. There's a Sixers one usually on Thursdays. And then for actual articles, we're actually credentialed to cover, for the first time ever, like this past year, all of the Philadelphia sports teams, like in the same season. Normally there's like one where we can't get in or something like that. So first year ever, we had all 5 teams, including the Union, to actually go and cover the games. So if you want like credential coverage and stuff where it's from reputable sources and you're not being clickbaited, but the insights are actually like valuable, not behind a paywall or anything, phillysportsnetwork.com is your place to get them. And in terms of the channel, not only are there going to be live streams, I'm planning like longer documentary style videos. I think I mentioned it in a couple of streams ago, like on players. So like one of the players needs no introduction. I want to do a Saquon Barkley video on that first season in Philadelphia, looking back at how he got there, why he got there, the season he had, the impact, and all of that good stuff. And then another one on Nolan Smith, and just like a really expanded, slow pace, sit down, put a pizza in the oven, crack a beer, sit there and just watch some like Nolan Smith tape development over 2 years. So there's a lot of cool things like that. I want to get back into doing and do them properly now that we've got the time to do them. So that is the entire lore of the PSN YouTube channel. And if I haven't sent you to sleep, I appreciate you. And yeah, just like, excuse me. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. And I appreciate the question. I need a derby or bowler or monocle. He won't end, will he? He just won't end. I think if Quinn didn't get hurt, the game would have been a blowout. Rodgers was good. Do you know what? Yeah, Rodgers let a couple go. He let a couple go. There are a couple plays out there where he would have had a turnover or was a step too slow. I think he got a bit over aggressive. It was very like nervy cornerback play, I felt. Not in a bad way. Like he wasn't being toasted. He wasn't out there running around like Nolan Carroll. Okay. But he was someone that I think just like in the heat, I say the heat very loosely, but the heat of the game or the lack of it, just that you're being given work by 2 very dangerous wideouts and your instinct is to jump routes. And I think Darius Slay did a veteran's job of just anticipating and going off footwork. I think Rodgers was a bit too locked into the upper body, like just very, and this isn't looking at tape yet. This is just going off like the closer highlights when they zoom in on the replays. But eyes are always like receiver level or like down, and they're not. It's one of them. You learn, you live and you learn. I appreciate watching the videos, man. Look, I'm going to get more out. I promise. There's going to be more documentary stuff, maybe some reaction things as well. I just need to try and find the right pacing and the way to do it. But I bought the Mac to do it. So the computer I'm on now, I bought specifically to edit like Eagles videos. So it's on the way. I just need time, and then we'll get rolling again. And go Birds! Nep92. I'm going to push like your picture. Look at that. So there you go. That's for free. That's for free. You don't get that on ESPN, is all I'm saying. All right. Go Birds. A euphoric go Birds. And on that note, it is near the end of the stream. So we'll just end it with this. All right. Jalen Hurts is fine. Not great. Fine. And that's okay because the Eagles have changed things to run the ball. Don't run first team. And Jalen is okay doing 40 miles an hour in an 80 because he doesn't need to be doing 80. He's going to get to the place eventually anyway. And he's got a very nice car to drive. Let's not go speeding down the highway and wreck the car. All right. You have got a glorious Ford GT40. Oh, those old school ones, white stripe over the top. Yeah, one of them. That's what Jalen Hurts is driving. And that Ford GT is Saquon Barkley. All right. You don't want to go crashing it. Just go get there safely, get there softly. You'll be fine. And when it comes to this weekend, they're going to ruin the Commanders. They're going straight back to the Super Bowl to take on the Chiefs in a rematch from 2 years ago. Get one over. Saquon gets his ring. I'm genuinely fired up talking about it. And that's not good because I've got to go to bed. So I'll be lying there wide as anything. Just basically doing what Tyrell was doing and just thinking of these dream scenarios. But I can't wait, man. This is going to be a very, very long week waiting for Eagles football NFC Championship. I genuinely can't get the smile off my face. I'm so stoked. Kenny Green knows Wolves, son. I need to ask the landlady. It's rented accommodation, so I can't be doing too much. I've already got a dartboard up and put a couple of holes in the wall. So I'm sure she won't mind a complete green lick of paint, right? That's fine. So we'll see See what I can swing. Can I paint the walls luminous green? Why? Go Birds. Go Birds. That's all you need. We'll see what I can do. But gents, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you hanging out on this frosty Monday evening. On your way out of the theatre, if you could just leave a like and put your popcorn in the trash. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get a notification for when we go live next time. Tuesday, we'll be flipping the Birds o'clock at 8 p.m. And also, we've got Shoot Another Flyers podcast on, I think at like 6-ish. So it'll be good for that as well. But from me, Liam Jenkins, thank you for being the absolute best as always. Go Birds! All right, go Birds! I'm so amped up, man. I could run through a wall. Go Birds! I'm screaming it at you now. I could just do this for an hour and just scream Go Birds at you. Go Birds! All right, I'll see you on Wednesday. We'll talk about the Washington Commanders. We'll go over some film. We'll look at some matchups to watch and give our predictions for what could be a very, very exciting weekend of football. One more time, Go Birds! I'll see you soon. Take care.